there.
Myra Sanchik, Fox 6 News.
Hundreds of people were injured as a result of yesterday's tornado in Oklahoma. About 24, they're saying now 24, were killed.
Which is awful. However, that number could have been even higher if it weren't for the first responders there. Our Chip Brewster is live in Racine with an inside look at what goes through the minds of these men and women. Chip.
Good evening, Ann. I'm here in Racine where we spoke to some firefighters that have not dealt with the kind of destruction that we are seeing in Oklahoma. However, they have been through some fairly emotional rescues, specifically life or death situations involving children like those at the Plaza Towers Elementary School in Moore. Yesterday, that community lost 7 kids alone.
Adrenaline wears off after a while, and you kind of have to go on your training then after that.
As a lieutenant with the Racine Fire Department, David Peterson can relate to what his peers in Oklahoma are going through. He says most first responders learn to deal with the internal struggle of a tragedy, with one exception.
You build up this kind of wall after a while where you get kind of used to seeing some of these things. The things that bother us guys the most, I think, our children know.
Unfortunately, in Moore, Oklahoma, that's exactly what had to face. Kindergarten through 3rd graders at Plaza Towers Elementary had taken shelter. It's a school directly in the path of the tornado. When firefighters arrived, they searched through the night for survivors. There was a similar drive for firefighters in Racine just a few months ago. Last November, 4 children were trapped in this Linden Avenue home when it caught fire.
It was an incident where the firefighters literally would not give up. They kept going back in, looking for these kids, and they were so exhausted that when the 4th child finally came out of the house, several of them collapsed in the front lawn.
Just from personal experience, you're thinking about your kids.
While Peterson says it's difficult to deal with those emotions amidst the rescue, the real challenge comes after firefighters are back in the firehouse.
A lot of those that have been through that type of tragedy before, they'll start watching their co-workers. Are they being quiet? Are they looking away? Are they looking down? Are they exhibiting any signs that they are under a lot of stress because of what has happened?
Another thing Peterson mentioned, that many of those first responders in Oklahoma have families of their own to worry about. But rather than just go home and spend that time with them, they chose to continue their duty and serve the greater community. Reporting live in Racine, Chip Brewster, Fox 6 News.
And we have a way for you to get involved tonight. Fox 6 hosting this phone bank here in our studios along with the American Red Cross. You can call the number on your screen, 414-586-2100, to make a donation. We'll be speaking to those volunteers, in fact, coming up here in just a few minutes. And more on the storm later.
A new